Donald Trump wants to form a commission to fix college football. Is it a crazy idea or not? We'll talk about it right here on Locked On Clemson.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Tiger fans? Morgan Thomas here, Clemson fan, Clemson grad, host and producer of Locked On Clemson, part-time host and producer over on 105.5 FM The Roar. Thank you so much for making Locked On Clemson your first listen every day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And if you're new to the show, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss an episode. You know how we do it here on Locked On. Exclusive Clemson content Monday through Friday. Every single week we talk about your Clemson Tigers. And don't forget to follow me in between episodes over on X at The Morgan T Show, where we can talk about all things Clemson wherever and however you want. Today's episode, we've got a ton to talk about, from Donald Trump getting into college football, from Cade Klubnik talking about the defense, and then the baseball team that I know everybody is slightly worried about now getting towards the end of the season. Great time to get worried about a team when you've had such a great season so far. They need to finish strong, and there's a little bit of a concern in the building right now for that. But let's start it off with Donald Trump taking on NCAA and trying to shake up college football and their future. The president is going to form, or wants to form, a presidential commission on college athletics. And to me, it's pretty surprising, could be very impactful for how college football will be in the next few years. And Clemson fans and all of college football fans need to pay attention for sure. Clemson, sits in the forefront of college football. They are one of the schools out there that want to be relevant when it comes to college football. Not every college football program out there, I know, shockingly enough for me to admit this out loud, but not everybody wants to be able to be the best or win a national championship with college football. Clemson is not that way. They want to be competitive, not just competitive. They want to be able to compete at an elite level. And not just on the football field, but when it comes to revenue generation, when it comes to their facilities and their coaching staffs as well. So NIL has played a big role, as we've seen. Transfer portal is taking college football over by storm. And Donald Trump now wants to get involved to investigate exactly what's going on with how athletes could possibly get employed and how that's going to really work out in the long term. I understand that the competitive balance is a big problem, and Clemson has already, made it known that they want to have a future where college football is balanced competitively, not only in their own conference in the ACC, but in college football as a whole. And right now, the competitive balance, maybe it was never really there, but it's even worse now that everything's kind of allowed. And the one thing I've said over the past couple of months is, I would love for this to actually be the opposite. I don't want college football to be, overtaken by lawyers and judges from all over the country. They have all different kind of views. I think that would be a disaster for the sport. And so if these players need to become a union, if the league needs to be separated, and even if the teams need to separate themselves as a unique entity away from the university in order to get away from this craziness of being legislated as a university and a state and government entity, that is what needs to happen. Because the more government oversight I see happening, my opinion is it is going to get worse, and it's not going to get better. It's going to be the most inefficient sport that is ran out there. And it's going to get to a point where the inefficiencies are so bad and the demand for equality amongst everything is going to actually make things worse. You're not going to be able to have a competitive sporting environment if you let the government and a bunch of different lawyers and judges take over, because they could rewrite everything in just one piece of legislation, and I don't think that's good. I think that what I'd love to see is people that are actually invested. And Dabo Swinney has made this a ton, has talked about this a ton, because I think guys like Nick Saban need to be involved. Now, the good thing is that Donald Trump is on the same page with me as far as that is concerned. The early reports out there are saying that Nick Saban has already met with Donald Trump in Alabama, in Tuscaloosa, and could have a major role in this. So if that's the case, that makes me feel a little bit better. But I still would love for college football as a whole to get away from overarching government oversight with how it goes. So I expect there to be, at least from preliminary reports, I expect there to be an emphasis on trying to have as traditional of a structure of college football that we've known. I do feel like that Donald Trump is a huge college football fan. We know that Nick Saban is really invested in making sure that college football is still preserved. We know that guys like Dabo Swinney, if he ever were to retire, would probably also be in one of those roles to try to preserve college football and the uniqueness that is there, and not just make it another semi-professional league out there or another non-NFL league that is professional out there. It sounds good. I still am very cautious, though. It sounds good to say Nick Saban. It sounds good to say preserving tradition, but it's still the government, And so there's politics involved. There's, judges and lawyers that have their own agendas, and I don't know if I fully trust them to be able to handle a college football or even any kind of sporting league properly over time. I think it will get to the point where it'll get bogged down by a ton of rules and legislation. And I don't want that at all. If you get federal law involved, to me, that scares me the most. But it seems as if this may be where we're continuing. I don't think politicians want to get away from it. There's a lot of politicians out there that are huge college football fans, and they want to be involved because they know that their voters are huge college football fans. So if they're involved, their voters are involved, they're going to keep continuing to push for that and continue to have their hand in the cookie jar, if you will. I don't know if it'll be better or for worse, but I do have some concerns that it could be more for worse than for better. But we need to keep an eye on this because it's going to impact how Clemson is going forward. It's going to impact college football as a whole. But I expect more and more uncertainty before we get even any answers. That's my thing. I think that, guys like Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney can be critical in making sure that this is done right if they are involved. But if they're not, then that really worries me a ton. Any federal action or approval or disapproval for anything that's happening with NIL, with revenue sharing, with player salaries or whatever it may be, or even their just status as an employee or not, could significantly make or break how Clemson can survive. We've already seen other universities warn us about not being able to survive if this continues to go down the path of just unchecked, unbalanced spending on players and rosters. It is out of hand, in my opinion. Right now, you have where guys like Quinn Ewers should refuse to go to the NFL because they're not good there. They're not good enough to be one of the best there, and instead stay in college football because they'd make, 10 times more than what they'd make trying to go to the NFL. So if you have that scenario there, we've already saw legislation and arguments from the player's perspective of saying this is a disadvantage to us because you're not allowing us to play 5 years or 6 years. I could see where you're getting into even more of, hey, this is a revenue generating sport that is just loosely tied to the university at this point, outside of just forcing players to go to class. And even that is sketchy, and it's been sketchy for years of going actually to class. But you're going to get to a point where players are going to say, you know what, why are you keeping me away from making the most possible based on my name, image, likeness, or my talent? You're not allowing me to stay in college football indefinitely. I could see that happening. You might say it's crazy, but prepare for disruption, prepare for uncertainty, and prepare for opportunity, because it could be great. Things could work out for the better for certain things, but I don't know. I'm still very skeptical about how all this works out. Clemson and the powers that be must be at the table for this. I don't want just Nick Saban to run everything. Personally, no, I don't. But I like that he's there. I do think he has college football's best interest in mind. But I also know that he's a little bit biased, and he's going to do things that are going to influence certain teams over others. The Tigers and other top universities cannot sit this one out and just let it happen. Media rights, revenue generation, realignment, all that matters as we continue to go. I do believe that the more we get into politics with college sports, it is going to hurt more than help. And so that's kind of my take on it for sure. Do I think players should become employees? Honestly, I do think that there needs to be some sort of structure when it comes to player salaries, at least. I don't know how you would do that, whether or not they need to be employees or not, if you were to do that. But my original suggestion years ago was to have a tiered system based on seniority and based on talent level and production. So you have talent and production being a part of your salary, but also that you're a senior versus a freshman. So a freshman's not going to be able to come in and make what, an all conference, all American senior that is actually proven. A 5-star freshman can't come in and make what a proven all American senior is making. That's the way I would structure it, where it's set salaries or compensation per grade level and per, what you've done on the field. And so the freshmen are going to have to sit out a little bit when it comes to money, because this to me is structured in that way where you reward longevity and consistency with a program, and don't reward just being an unproven high schooler that's really more hype than actual content, for sure. All right, we're going to continue the discussion about college football. This time we're going to switch over to Cade Klubnik. He has come out and talked praises about Clemson's defense, and we'll talk about it right here. There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. I've been watching them. They're so exciting. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment, it just hits different when you get into playoff atmospheres. And the arena is buzzing. And with game time, you don't have to miss out. You can be in the middle of it, all without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game time makes grabbing playoff tickets fast, simple, and even when the demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually drop as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. Now, here's the deal. I love watching basketball, and there's nothing worse than missing out on a big-time playoff game because you feel like the tickets are too pricey or you can't even find them. And that's why I like Game Time so much. Their app is built for fans who want to catch the action without overpaying, without getting involved in anything sketchy. Plus, all of their pricing means their all-in pricing means you don't have any surprises when you get to the checkout. What you see is what you pay, and that's the kind of thing that can make you wish that you had the app before you went to anything or you bought anything in the future. No hidden fees. The price is what you pay is what you see, for sure. Don't let playoff tickets slip through your fingers this postseason. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today for last-minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed. Clemson's defense under Tom Allen is confusing Cade Klubnik. Why is that a good thing? Well, it's a good thing because Cade Klubnik has been noticing that it's much more difficult to convert on third downs, much more difficult to convert in the red zone because he doesn't really know what's happening or what's going to happen out there. Now, kind of scares you a little bit, maybe for Cade, maybe, but also makes you feel really good about Tom Allen and what he is able to do to enhance this Clemson defense. We've been hyping it up all offseason, and I'm not going to stop. So if you're looking for a podcast that doesn't talk about the Clemson defense, then you may want to move on, because this podcast is definitely going to hype up the Clemson defense all offseason until we get to the first game and even after. But Cade Klubnik is saying that he's getting huge challenges in practice. Cade says he has not been recognizing a lot of things. It seems completely different from last season, ever since spring camp opened up. He credits those disguises to Tom Allen, mixing up the fronts, keeping it pretty chaotic for him. And he feels that it is preparing him to be better, even more for the real game scenarios. My first question is, why in the world weren't we doing this already? I mean, were you just going through base defenses in the off season? Were you just going through the vanilla stuff and just not preparing your defense? Not only not preparing your defense for the looks that you're going to be calling in the games, but not challenging your offense. I feel like maybe this might be some spring talk here. I don't know of an elite college football coach or any coach at that matter that's not going to try to challenge their team. Even in the peewee level, you're going to find some way to disguise a look or challenge your players in some way. If you're not, then maybe that's why you don't have a job. But preparing the team is important, not only on the defense, but also on the offense. And it seems like Cade Klubnik says he's being challenged much more this offseason, and that's got to give you excitement, but also a little bit of worry. For me, I do have a little bit of worry with it. I don't like a quarterback to come out and say this, because I do wonder, like, why was this allowed in the first place? And it does fall on the head man's shoulders when it comes to this. Why did Dabo Swinney, if this is the case, why did Dabo Swinney allow a coach to come in and be a defensive coordinator and not only challenge his own defense with disguising looks and mixed fronts and pre-snap chaos, but challenge his offense with that as well? Kind of really big, huge head scratcher for me. The 4-2-5, I know is got a lot of fans concerned, but it is Tom Allen's base. The 4-2-5 is what we're going to see, and it is the starting point for this Clemson defense. And we have heard that he will morph it. It's not going to always be a 4-2-5 based on how the defense is or the offense is playing. You may see a 4-3. I think you'll see 4-3, 40% of the time, 30% of the time. I'm also hearing some rumors that you're going to see a 3-4. And I know that they've tried that in the past, and it's maybe not been the best. Maybe they've tried a 3-3-5 in the past too, not been the best. But a 3-4 would be interesting. I'm just curious who the 4 linebackers would be in that scenario. We'll have to kind of think about it before I get back to you on that one. But I don't know the last time Clemson has even ever done a 3-4 defense, unless it was just maybe one-off this past season or in the past. But it's not something consistent enough to really kind of jog my memory about when they have done it in the past. Standing up edge rushers, disguising blitzes, keeping Cade Klubnik off balance. That's what Tom Allen has been doing all offseason. That's what he did with Penn State. That's what he did with Indiana. And that's how he's going to make Clemson's defense one of the best in the country all over again. Now, Cade's quote saying it all to us. He says, I have no idea what they're running. It's just very reactionary right now. And while that is really cool to say, it is still kind of concerning. Cade needs to also be able to understand what defenses are doing and kind of be a step ahead of them as well. But it is the kind of practice that I think will build real-time processing for Cade Klubnik and help his field vision as well. Maybe some of those problems with his real-time processing and with what he can see out in the field, in the middle parts of the field for sure as well. Maybe it was because of the way practices were ran. This is going to help Clemson's QB1 be far better and more battle ready in 2025. I truly believe that. The defense reflects Tom Allen's personality. He's high energy, he's physical, he's detailed, and that's exactly where we want Clemson's defense to be. So it is exciting to see and hear what we are hearing right now in this offseason. And that's what this team that that has a lot of returning starters needs to do. They need to step up to the plate. The young guys need to grow up, and the veteran guys need to show up. And the quarterback leader on the offense, like Cade Klubnik, while it's great to see that he's impressed, he also needs to step up and rise to the challenge as well. Will the defense be better than last year? There is no indication that says otherwise. I feel like Clemson's defense will definitely be better than last year. So yes, and the 4-2-5 is definitely here to stay for sure. Will it be just for certain matchups? I wouldn't be shocked if you saw a multiple. We've heard 3-4, we've heard 4-3, we know 4-2-5 is going to be the base. So it could be a 4-2-5, but more of a multiple where it rotates much more than maybe I'm even anticipating. So Clemson's got a bunch of big games going into 2025, and they know exactly what they need to do to win those games, but they've got to go out and execute when the game time comes, when Saturday rolls around, and it all comes with preparation right now. And it seems like the right thing is happening over in the football facility. Now, over on the baseball facilities, well, there's a serious slide, and the postseason seeding is slipping away and is on the line. We'll talk about it coming up. Did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you are ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, and Avowed. It's easily done as you stream your favorite shows. No difference. It's that easy. Gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. As someone who loves Clemson sports and keeping up with the Tigers, I also love gaming for sure. But it's not just all about gaming. The Fire TV Stick 4K has me hooked on primetime entertainment, endless options, all kinds of apps out there. You can even watch press conferences from YouTube and those apps, but there's a ton of things you can go out there and just relax. I have had a ton of things going on right now with my flight school. And, sometimes it's great to just get home and not have to study, not have to worry about the next flight maneuver, and just enjoy your latest and greatest movies, all in crisp 4K. With over 1.5 million movies and TV episodes with the services that are on the Fire TV Stick, you can get it all. It's like having your own entertainment hub right there for you. And if you want a game, it's there for you as well. Just plug and play EA Sports College Football 2025 without needing to lug around your console. It's a win-win, and I will do it as the more I travel as being a pilot. So with 4K streaming, you can watch more than you need. It's just endless entertainment. Head over to Amazon.com/FireTV Locked On and get started today. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller are required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. Clemson baseball's late season struggles are a problem and threatening their NCAA tournament hopes, and hosting a super regional is now in some serious doubt. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Tigers have lost 7 out of their last 9. They lost to Coastal Carolina, which was the latest sign of their offensive troubles. They're getting heckled, and fans are just jumping down their throats. There's no batters hitting over 300 right now. Jaron Purify is injured. Inconsistency from superstar Cam Canarella. Everything right now is going wrong, or in the wrong direction for Clemson. They've dropped from number 2 overall just a few weeks ago to now number 9 in just 2 weeks, and it is not looking any better. Will they be able to rebound? I am seriously concerned. Projections are now slipping. Baseball America has Clemson at 9. D1 Baseball has them at 10. Both originally have Clemson hosting a regional, but not a super regional if the current trend continues. I hope that it doesn't, because Clemson must bounce back. They have 2 ACC matchups left, Duke and Pitt. These are Clemson's final regular season opponents. If they want to reclaim a top 8 seed, then they likely need to sweep one of these series. Every single inning counts. It's crazy to say, but this slide has been horrific for this team. When you think about baseball and sliding, you usually think about good things, but this is not one of those good sliding. You're not sliding in home to get an extra run. You are sliding in the poles, and that is definitely not good. ACC play matters, always mattered, because ACC has some great teams out there, but it matters more than ever now. They're loaded with top 25 teams. Clemson's record is 7-10 in those top games. It's respectable, but not where we thought the Tigers would be. There's no margin for error now as they get closer and closer to the postseason. Eric Bakich needs some sort of spark. Where is it going to come from? Honestly, I have no idea. They need to have a coming together meeting and to figure out. We know this team has talent. We said it from the very beginning. There is no doubt. On paper, they're one of the better teams. Now, do they have some injuries they're having to work through? Yes. But something is going on to where their edge at the plate is gone. Now, it's been risky all season. They haven't been the best hitting team forever, but there've always been 1 or 2 guys where you can really trust to kind of get your spark going. And right now, it's kind of faded out. Can they relight that flame? Can they get the spark going? Can they return to their winning ways? Clemson fans need to hope for someone, including me, for someone to step up, whether it's getting someone healthy like Jaron Purify, or getting Cam Canarella hot again, or finding someone in the bullpen to get their groove back. Whatever it may be, this slide has got to stop, because there's not many games left. You don't want to leave any doubt about where you deserve to be. Clemson is not looking good having a team like Coastal Carolina beat them, because that's an in-state rival there, and maybe even a more contested rival than South Carolina. But you don't want to ever slip in the rankings. You have to keep climb back up, especially towards the end. This is not where you want to fizzle out and die off. That's for sure. Are there a lot of things at risk? And what has happened to the Bats? Only time will tell if they'll be able to rebound from this. I hope they do, but there's not many games left. They have to play the games, and they have to win those games. All we can do is just sit here and hope that someone finds something, and that all you need is that one guy to catch fire and to rally the troops and get them going again. That's what I'm hoping for Clemson baseball. The season's not over. I'm not giving up on them yet, but they got to find something quick. They got to get back in and get out of this funk for sure. Hey, thank you so much for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith, I've been on the show. I love it. And he has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan about the rapid changes to college football and all of the landscape there. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And as always, Tiger fans, we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see you at the top of the hill.